check it out, they gon' slide.
Hey guys, this is Cuthbert Nibbles here with another YouTube tutorial for you on Tixati. Today we're going to be going into something slightly different than what my last tutorial was on. Last time I showed you how to add and manage your torrents here in Tixati and how to make the client download torrents a little bit faster. Today I'm going to be showing you a feature that Tixati recently introduced called Channels. Channels is a decentralized chat network, and I'll teach you what that means later. First, let's start off by briefing what I'm going to do in this tutorial. I'm going to tell you what channels are, what they do, how they work, but that'll come later because it's fairly complicated and you don't really need to do that. I'm going to teach you how to get into channels, how to start using them. I'm going to teach you how to find them, which is important. I'm going to teach you how to create your own channel. And then I'm going to start going into more detail on how these channel works and the cryptography behind them and what keeps them so secure, which is an amazing feature that Tixati offers, and very few other torrent clients give that. I think LimeWire and FrostWire had it at some point, but I don't know if they still use it. I don't use those clients. So let's start off by getting into the channel screen. This is your transfer screen that most people will manage most of their Tixati functions from. Going into channels, you want to click up here. The button labeled channels. It'll bring up this screen, and here you can see there's a lot of emptiness because we have to find channels. The easiest way is to use Tixati's built-in channel finding system that uses other Tixati clients which you're connected to basically network these channel links to each other. So we're going to click gather channels, and it's going to use the DHT, which I will cover later, to find all these channels. And you can see here gathering channels. Now I do have to give you a slight warning. Some of these channels are not appropriate for children at all, and they're appropriately labeled. You can see them coming up here, so I advise you, if you are under the age of 18 or 21, depending on where you live, to stay out of those channels for legal reasons. Mind you, no one can touch you because they're so highly encrypted. You're probably safe. It's still for morality reasons. Just don't touch them. So the first channel that we're going to take a look at, these are channels, by the way. Each of these are a small chat room. You can see the amount of users. Most of them I find just sit there idling, but sometimes you can get a conversation. So let's look at the Get a Room channel. I'm going to right click on it, and I want to start it, which is me entering the chat room. So now Tixati is going through various people, looking for people who have connections to this channel, and then it's sending my computer the information. So as you can see, something popped up. That means that Tixati has found this channel. This channel gives you a bunch of information about itself, as most channels do to introduce them. You can see here Tixati is slowly downloading it through a network of peers, which I will once again cover later because it's quite complicated, and there's no need for you to know what they do to make use of these channels. So this channel here gives you instructions on how to create a private channel, which I will go over later. And let's find another one. I know that there is this one. Now this channel usually has illegal activity going on, but it's still fun to just take a look at to see some of the powerful features this channel can have. Here you can see we're getting that information again, getting the connections. If we go into chat, once this loads, it'll load up here a list of people that are in this chat room, and that's where the chat function comes in, as well as a couple other neat things that you can do, which we will see once the channel loads. As you can see, what I've done here, I've created multiple channels. Get a Room is this one. The chat is empty. This chat here, I'll go over some of the features you can do to manipulate that. Test channel has loaded. We can start seeing this is the chat, so I can type things down here. Just introduce myself. Now over here on the right you can see the different levels. That man is the owner, player is a manager, and I am a mere normal user. I'm not banned or idle. I'm just sitting here. But you can see player here is different because he's got that little triangle. So I'm going to right click on that triangle and say play stream. Now it's going to launch VLC, and it's going to show me the Avengers is streaming live. So what it's doing I'll go over later, but I just wanted you to see how amazingly fast and crystal clear this actually is, considering that it's being live streamed through a peer-to-peer network. This isn't Netflix, this is real. It's coming from some guy's computer, probably a guy like me, a nerdy guy in the basement. We'll just close that stream now and continue looking at some of these channels that they have. There's more interesting ones, like the Windows. You can connect to as many channels as you want at one time. And let's go into Get a Room and go over creating your own channel. So the instructions for creating one are listed here. I'm not going to read them because they're long and complex and not a video. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back to the channel list, and at any time you can connect to Get a Room. I'll teach you how to connect to a specific channel later. We'll go over creating one first. So you can say Add and then Create New. Now, secret key is something that you'll want to keep private. If I were to keep this channel open, I would change this, because you should never tell anyone your secret key. The secret key is the administrative password to the channel. You can make it something small, like password1, or just password, but that's a really bad idea because someone will guess it pretty quickly. The name of the channel, we'll just call it Tutorial, and then a topic. You don't need to enter this. And then advertising the channel will allow other people to see it. Like you can see in the background here, all of these channels are advertised. So they're not secret key, their public key is given to everyone, and a way to connect the cryptography, I guess, of the channel is made available to people, so they can, join the chat room and allow sharing by default. Just allows other people to share this channel with more people, so it basically lets them see the public the address, I guess is what you call it. I think. I'm not entirely sure how that works. I just usually allow it checked if I want to do a public chat room. Another thing you can do is hash a password. So if I have something easy to remember like password1, but I want it slightly harder to guess, you can hash it and it'll turn it into this brutal gobbledygook. And then anyone, if they type in password1, it will always result in the same hash, which is great if you have a couple people that you want to share this secret key with and have to do it over like voice to voice. You can just make something up, like there's tutorials on creating good passwords, and then just using that, or you can randomize it, which just creates a random bunch of gobbledygook, which is also pretty darn hard to guess. Now we're going to create this channel, and that's just going to, now it's going to start telling people that this channel exists. As you can see, seeking peer connections, it's going to start appearing in people who are looking for channels. As you can see, the topic that I said not needed is listed as not needed. The name is tutorial, and you can connect here. Other people can join this channel. Of course, no one is, because it's a really boring channel and has nothing interesting about it. So now that we've gone over that, let's talk about how you're going to get this channel to your friends. Believe it or not, it's not on the share screen. This is sharing files. So if you want to share a photo collection, you could share it through here. What you want to do is you want to right-click on the channel and you want to say copy link. And then you want to send that link to your friends. Now, this will need to be sent over a chat or something, because it can't be made simple, and it will be very complicated. As you can see here, the name is included, and it always starts with DSC. What I just did here, going add, and then channel by name, will allow you to add channels not listed in this list. So if you want to make a private channel with your friend, you would create a private channel, and then use that. And then you just hit add, and as you can see, it already exists, so it brings me back into this channel. I just went over the video, and I noticed something that I'd forgotten to put in here. These are the options for the channel that you create. So if I go into Get a Room channel, or Get a Room, I don't know, it's late, and say network, like go into the network, and then the network options you can see here. This is my information, this is my public key, that's part of the two-way cryptography. or asymmetric key cryptography, as I think it's called, the channel URL, and the secret key. As you can see, I can enter it here. I don't know it because I don't run or have access to GetARoom's administrative properties, but if you enter it there, then you can become an owner of the channel and do much more with it, such as editing this page here and a couple other things. Here for my channel, since I've created this channel and know the secret key, I can copy it. And as it warns you here, the secret key allows anyone to fully control this channel. Are you sure you want to copy the key to the clipboard? And you have to be careful, because if your computer is bugged, you could lose the secret key. And since, as far as I know, it is linked to your channel URL, there is no way to get a new one for your channel. So if you lose control of your secret key, you lose control of the channel. Yeah, so let's get back to the normal tutorial. Sorry about that. Now let's look a little bit more on how channels work, how Tixati handles channels, and I'm actually going to start off with bandwidth management. I'll just show you a couple things in settings. We may as well get that down. If you go into settings and then click the channels button, you can see all of the channels. So you can change your username to various things. If you have spaces, they'll be replaced with underscores. Just so you know, if you're trying to use spaces for spacing, they will not be spaces. The back scroll lines is the amount of chat that it keeps, like the chat history. Here you can see, since no one's chatting, there's nothing really for history. But on a more popular channel, you might end up seeing quite a bit, and if you want to see how far you want to go back, that number can go pretty high. As you can see, I'm setting it to 10,000, and it's accepting it. Display timestamps just displays these little 9:39:58 notifications, and display join leave notifications is stuff like guess that man has left, that man has joined, stuff like that. Start previously running channels on program startup. It will save that link. Remember the DSC link that I just showed you how to get. Tixati will remember it and allow you to send, or it'll save it, internally, and allow people, it will connect to that channel. It will try and get connections to that channel again once Tixati starts. Secure local resource discovery, I have no idea. Oh, that just looks for LAN. LAN connections, and bandwidth priority is where the data for this channel is going to sit. I recommend, as well as Tixati, to put it on high, so that you have these classes for very important things and still have a bit of distance between what normal downloads flow at. I'll be showing you that in a minute once I get into bandwidth. That's why I wanted to come here first, so you can choose. If you set it to ultra high, yes, it'll give your chat higher priority, but you might run into the problem of the chat taking too much bandwidth, so it will transmit a small chat message and bounce it around the group, and it'll cut your torrent speed way down, which it really isn't necessary, and I'll show you how bandwidth is handling that on high in just a minute. That's not something you need to worry about. Tixati will handle that internally, and you won't need to touch it unless you're working, unless your media player doesn't support it. Most of them say just get VLC, because as you can see here, this one says get VLC. Right there. You'll need about 100, VLC. Always get VLC, because it's simply the best player, in my opinion. I should do a video on that. Let's go into bandwidth. As you can see here, the light green is talking about channel traffic, and the dark blue is talking about my torrent traffic. I'm downloading Kubuntu in the background. I might have to restart that because it's going really fast. So I will limit my bandwidth to 50 kilobytes per second to show you guys exactly how this works, and zoom in a bit. Is that as far as I can go? It looks like it. So while that cleans up, you can see here, kind of, not very well though, that channels is getting the priority over Kubuntu, which has completely shut down, more or less. While that goes, I'll talk a bit about how this thing works with the DHT screen in the background, because that is the system that it uses more, or it's not really DHT. DHT stands for Distributed Hash Table. It kind of is decentralized tracking. What it does is it creates a hash of the file. A hash is an algorithm you can put a file or data into, and it comes out with a certain number that you saw earlier with the passwords, and it cannot be reversed. But so it's a really efficient way to encrypt stuff, I guess, or find like it's kind of like a footprint. Every person will leave a different footprint, but you can't reconstruct the person with the footprint without, ridiculous computing power, which no one on Earth has yet, which I will go into later with cryptography, which is going to be real fun, so stay tuned for that. As you can see here, all of the things the DHT system is doing to, and this is just dealing with torrents too, to connect with all the people. Basically, what happens in channels is you have a bunch of different people, and these people can be, some of them will be connected to each other, whereas some of them won't. So if you want to talk to Bob, and Bob has a connection to Diane, then you will send a message to Diane, and Diane will forward the message to Bob, which will allow all of the Tixati users to send messages to any other Tixati users, as long as none of them are strictly isolated. Looks like bandwidth is about done. No, it's not. Let's go into cryptography. So Tixati uses two-way cryptography, which is kind of hard to explain. Get a Room mentions that it's around 3,000-bit keys. I have Excel up here to show you exactly what that means. So here you can see the key size, which is like how many bytes are in the key. So a 128-bit key is the global standard for internet cryptography, so what your bank will use, what most government agencies use, like not the spy ones obviously, but like your taxes will use 128-bit. It's a very trusted system. Here you can see it has 3.4 times 10 to the 38, so that's 4 followed by 37 zeros, which is a lot of different combinations. So if you're trying to guess and check, which is how most attacks on this type of cryptography work, you would have to hit 3 followed by 4,000, or sorry, a 4 and then 37 digits, 37 zeros after it. That's a crap ton of possibilities, and nothing you're going to see cracked in, as this system here says, 1.02 times 10 to the 18 years. This is a measurement of years. So that's 1 followed by 18 zeros, years, to brute force this, which is, I think it's a trillion. It's around 1 trillion. And this measurement here is one that I found really interesting. Let's assume that every person on Earth has 10 computers, and that there are 7 billion people on the planet, and each of these computers can check 1 billion combinations per second. It would take 1.07 times 10 to the 22 years. So that's a 1 followed by 22 zeros, just so you can kind of get an idea how far away we are from cracking these keys. That's not 22 years, that's 1 with 22 zeros. That's just an amazing thing, and that's 128-bit. 256-bit is what the government uses for encrypting their very secret files, and that is completely overkill as it is. Tixati takes it a step further and goes to around 3000-bit, which is in between these two. The reason there are no numbers here is because Excel, believe it or not, can't fathom these numbers. So if we just take the possibilities, which is a mathematical function of basically 2 to the power of the key size, and extend that, here you'll see it just gives an error that cannot be solved because Tixati can't handle that size of number. So I've got this web service here, a calculator, just so I can show you guys about how many key possibilities there are. As you can see here, 1.2 times 10, that's what the E stands for, to the 903. So that's 1 followed by 903 zeros, key possibilities. I wanted to click Excel. And then the conversion for how long it takes to brute force is really just, it's always been an increase. No, it's not. Don't listen to me. It's still a bloody long time. I can promise you it's not going to happen while you're alive. because we simply don't have the computing power to brute force that. So let's look back at how our bandwidth management is doing. With a strict limitation of 50 kilobytes per second download, it is giving the channel priority. Now, you might be asking, what is using all of this bandwidth? I mean, I'm not watching anything, I'm not chatting, and that's kind of the give and take of Tixati channels. The network will provide you with these chat messages with the live streaming, as you could see here in test channel. But it also expects you to contribute your part. Just like seeding, this channel expects you to send out the data, to receive and then transmit it again to more users so that everyone can get a copy of the data going through this network. And that's what this leftover bandwidth here is. It's that seeding of channels, so to speak. So if we increase this to 70, that's not 70, you'll see that channels goes with it. Since it's high priority, it doesn't take up all of the data. If we were to switch this torrent to an extremely low bandwidth, here, set it to ultra low, you'll see that that gap should get smaller, which it does. Very fine movements though. But then if we put this one up and set its priority, where did I have that? Bandwidth to ultra high, you'll see it takes precedence over the channels, and channels gets shut down, and the purple, I guess, the transfer gets more priority. Since it is an channels is set to ultra high, sorry, not ultra high, channels is set to high and the torrent is set to ultra high, the torrent really doesn't go much more than the channels. I'm going to keep it at normal because I like to support these channels. And then you can see it cuts back in. I'm just going to set that back to what I had it. And as you can see, you know, channels only use this so much. It's not a whole lot. You can see here with my fairly decent internet speed, you probably won't run into many problems. Channels isn't really all that hungry. I'm just trying to think. Have I not covered anything? Oh, private channels. Let's say I wanted to make a private channel with you guys. Say I need to do a, I don't know, university presentation, and I'm extremely paranoid that my partner is going to, or like that my chat between my partner is going to be looked into by some other student and they're going to hijack my search. I don't know why you'd need something like this, because it is incredibly powerful cryptography, but just, you know, for the fun of it, Tixati lets you do that. I'm going to create a new channel, call it Secure Tutorial, and I'm going to randomize and hash the key. I've got a button on my mouse that like super clicks, and topic is secret. And now I'm going to deselect these two. So that channel will be completely offline. You won't be able to see it. I'm going to change the secret key, and I'm going to let you guys connect to this channel, just so you can see exactly how this works. I might not be online, so you'll have to try a few times, you know, throughout the day, but I will make an effort to keep the Secure Tutorial channel open. I'm going to hit create, and it's going to create me my channel. I can edit this page, and I can do, you know, anything preceded by double hashtag will be invisible. The topic signature is, I guess, just an encryption or a hash, I guess, of that. I don't know. That's all very complicated stuff that, if you know what it does, you probably shouldn't be watching this tutorial, unless you're doing for criticism, in which case, thank you. Now, I'm going to share with you guys the channel link. I'm going to click here, say copy link, and I will paste it in the description for you guys to try and connect to. Going over that one more time, hit add, say open link, and paste that here. I think that's everything that I've gone over. I can't think of anything else, so thank you for watching my video. I know it's been a lot of information to take in a fairly long time, but congratulations on sticking it out this far. If you've got any questions, criticism, or feedback, leave them all down in the comments section. I usually get around to responding within a couple of hours, if not the day. And yeah, feel free to rate it. Anything helps. You've been great.
go slide.